So I said to my father, look, got this opportunity. I reckon it's going to make us millionaires. Yeah.
Brother, what's that?
Mashallah, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my channel. My name is Raiz. I'm tremendously happy that you are here with me today. If you are new, please consider a subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you can keep up with my uploads. We live in a time where financial gain and materialism is a prominent feature in our lives. And I've always asked the question, do those millionaires and billionaires out there really feel that they have accomplished life, that they have achieved the utmost and innermost qualities that is innately required by us as humans? But with so many of them, we find that they are deeply depressed or troubled in their lives, despite them having access to almost anything and everything, right? And so in today's video, I'm going to react to a person who refuses to be a millionaire to be a Muslim, an ex-atheist's unbelievable conversion story by Hamza's Din. And if, for those who don't know who Hamza is, he is a famous personality at Speaker's Corner, for those who know about Speaker's Corner. So in any case, let's get into it and see my reaction.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Hamza. We are really happy to have you with us. I want to start with, who is Hamza Mayat? Can you tell us briefly about your life?
Walaikum salam. Yeah, basically, I'm born and bred in England, grew up in South Wales. I used to be a financial advisor. I accepted Islam in October 2001, which was 3 weeks after 9/11, from which I would say I did my hijrah to London, where I began my journey in Islam. Today I'm a da'i, mashallah. I frequent Speaker's Corner. I've got my own YouTube channel, Hamza's Den, and also I got my own scarf business.
How did you first hear about Islam in your life?
My mum had a dream that I was in trouble. My mother and father had split when I was young. She was living in Manchester and I'm living in South Wales. She makes the move. She comes to South Wales to look for us, me and my brother, to see if we're in trouble. She doesn't know where I live. She doesn't know anything about me. She just knows the town I live, which is called Cwmbran. She arrives in this town, Cwmbran, and she meets this lad. First guy she sees, young guy. She thought, I'm just going to ask people, do they know me? Right? As if like I'm some famous guy everybody knows in the town. She's seen this guy and she just said to him, excuse me, can I ask you, do you know Darren and Wayne Myatt? And he's like, I just left them. She's like, what? He goes, really? She goes, yeah, I've just been with them. So imagine she's arrived in this town and the first person she asks has just left me 5 minutes ago. Subhanallah. This lad has just come from me because we were in a computer shop and we always get the lunch for the guys that own the shop. So we get to play the latest games. I'm a bit of a gamer. So basically, she sent him to us. So me and my brother, inquisitive, what's my mum doing here in Wales? We haven't seen her for years and years. So we arrived, she asked, are we in trouble? And we're like, no. She said, well, I've had this dream that it seems like you're in trouble. And we was talking in McDonald's and this is the McDonald's. And but you're not in trouble. And I'm like, nah, I'm not in trouble. So basically she goes, okay, she give me her phone number, which I put in my pocket. And then 2 weeks later, I did get in some trouble. Basically, I used to be a bit of a bad boy, a bit of a thief. And basically I was going to a Sainsbury's and I was stealing. I had a rule, if you steal and get away with it, don't go back to the same store straight away. Why? Because they may have their suspicions the first time, but they're not quite sure. But if you go back in, their suspicions will be confirmed. Oh, he's back. Now we're going to watch him. Now the cameras are going to they're going to be on him. Okay. I broke that rule for that day. I don't know why. I came out, I got what I wanted, pot of gel, so I could do my hair and a brush. Yeah. I didn't need to go back. I didn't need the money. I didn't need anything. But for some reason, I went back. It felt like we was being watched. So we was moving from aisle to aisle. And to be honest with you, we were going to leave. We was just going to leave the store. I was like, oh, let's just get some of this just because. Just because. No reason. We're passing these big bars of chocolate. At least let's get something. At least it's not going to be a wasted journey. So I take these big bars.
Yeah, it sounds like he was young because, I mean, of course, you get some older people who make such stupid decisions. But generally, youngsters, they, tend to catch on these types of shenanigans.
bars of chocolate, put them inside my coat, and we leave. And then I hear these running footsteps behind me. I just assumed it was someone running to catch a taxi or something like that. Anyway, I get this hand on my shoulder. Could you come back into the store with me, please? And my immediate reaction was, oh my God, she knows. She knows. Okay, what can I say? I said, oh, I bought these from somewhere else. And she was like, bought what? So all of a sudden I'm in trouble now. I think, oh, flipping it. So she's taking me back to the store. Now, I could have just broke away and run. She was a small woman. I don't know. I just felt it was a fair cop. So I'm going back in and we're passing this bin. I think if I go back in and I've got nothing, no chocolate on me, yeah, I say, what? You thought you made a mistake, yeah? So I slip my hand inside my coat and we're passing this bin and I drop the chocolate in the bin. And he's like, bah! The bin had just been emptied. So she stopped, she turned around, she goes, that was very clever, wasn't it? Get it out, yeah. Because she knew what I was trying to do. And now I've exposed what I'm doing. She goes, get it out. So I'm bedding in this bin, getting out these bars of chocolate. So now she's caught me with the goods. I'm done. I'm caught. So as we're going into the store, unbeknown to me at this moment in time, 2 doors down from the Sainsbury's entrance, my father and his wife came out of a bedding shop, and they saw me just at the same time. Just at this moment in time, they were there. So they see me going, this older woman holding me, taking me in. They could work out, why would Darren be with this older woman? Yeah, because I'm 15. I'm 15 at this time. So they're following. And
Right, he was 15, makes sense. But I can tell you, wow, if my parents had to catch me doing something like that, I mean, so quickly after the deed has been done, it would have been a tough time for me.
they see me going to be taken into the office. So then they knew, okay. So I'm in this office and they said his parents are outside. And I'm like, oh, no way. And then that's when my father came in and, like I said, he punched me. And I was so embarrassed and so ashamed. And I brought shame on my family and all this kind of thing. And I was like, what am I going to do? Anyway, I had this phone number in my pocket now that I never had before. Yeah, that I'd received 2 weeks earlier. So I just pulled it out, phoned my mum, said, look, I'm in trouble. And she said, no problem, just come. Just jump on a train. Don't worry about your clothes or anything. Just jump on a train, come to me. I'll pick you up. We'll look after you, don't worry. And when I returned to Manchester, my mum then took me to clothes shopping. She took me to this one particular shop. It could have been any shop she could have taken me to buy clothes, but she took me to this one particular shop. Whilst we're buying the clothes, she's saying to the guy who owns the shop, can you give him a job? He's a really, really good salesman. Give him a chance and this, that, the other. So because we don't employ guys, we don't employ girls. So they have this thing, they have girls, pretty girls working. So the guys come to buy the clothes because they want to be served by these pretty girls. But he gave me a chance. And alhamdulillah, and he was a Muslim. And he was the first Muslim I'd ever met. Yeah, that I'd integrated.
That's funny. I'm assuming that the store that his mother wanted him to work at probably wasn't owned by Muslims, but perhaps the person who she was speaking to was a Muslim. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's weird to me to understand that Muslims would have this type of policy where, they'd only hire girls so that, these girls can attract men, and, sales would happen from men coming in to see pretty girls and so on. This is not really like an Islamic way of doing business, I don't think. And I mean, you get different types of Muslims who would perhaps go down that route, but generally, no, I don't think so. But let's continue and hear on what Hamza has to say.
Closely, seeing what Islam was, met his family, seeing how beautiful the culture of this cohesion, this cohesive family thing didn't exist from where I was. I grew up in a white council estate. We don't see this. Just one thing, just eating together. Just the other thing, the parents are incorporated into the family. They're not distanced from the family. And it was that. And the way they welcomed me into their family, as if I was part of their family. Do you know what I mean? And the food, and there's just the whole ambience of it. It was something that I'd not experienced. For that in it alone, stopped me stealing. Just that encounter with him, and that I just said to myself, you know what, I ain't going to steal anymore. Yeah. Because I'd been influenced by this thing that I didn't realize what it was. So basically, he became my friend. Yeah. And I worked for him. I used to work with him on a weekend, and I got a job in this factory. Funny thing about this factory, it was called Remploy. It was a factory for disabled people, and I was the token, politically correct, able-bodied person. So everyone else around me is having epileptic fits and all sorts of things going on, and me, I'm the able-bodied guy. So I'm working there. He says to me, "Come and work for me." That I'd integrated, closely, seen what Islam was, met his family, seen how beautiful the culture of this cohesion, this cohesive family thing didn't exist from where I was. was. I grew up in a white council estate. We don't see this. Just one thing, just eating together. Just the other thing, the parents are incorporated into the family. They're not distanced from the family. And it was that. And the way they welcomed me into their family, as if I was part of their family. Do you know what I mean? And the food and there's just the whole ambience of it. It was something that I'd not experienced. For that in it alone, stopped me stealing. Just that encounter with him, and that I just said to myself, you know what, I ain't going to steal anymore. Yeah. Because I'd been influenced by this thing that I didn't realize what it was. So basically, he became my friend. Yeah. And I worked for him. I used to work with him on a weekend, and I got.
That's also interesting to know that, a cohesive family, a family that's structured in a way that is wholesome and warm, does a lot on not only a child, but every family member's way in which they go out into society and in their communities and what they represent for themselves. So, this idea that we're seeing in the West, where family is being destroyed by these different ideologies, I think is only causing havoc.
A job in this factory. Funny thing about this factory, it was called Remploy. It was a factory for disabled people, and I was the token, politically correct, able-bodied person. so everyone else around me is having epileptic fits and all sorts of things going on, and me, I'm the able-bodied guy. So I'm working there. He says to me, "Come and work for me full time. We want you full time. Don't employ girls anymore. We want you." Yeah, and he came, took me for a curry, sat me down, said, "Look, I want to give you this. I'm going to give you more than what you're getting now. I want you to come work for me." So that's how we grew together. Again, he wasn't practicing Islam. I wasn't getting any dawah, if you like, nothing like that. Just being his friend.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. We realize that 80% of our audience, including this video, are not subscribed to our channel. As you know, we're a non-profit organization and advertisements are disabled on our videos. Towards Eternity is not just a YouTube channel, but also a madrasa. Here we try to educate ourselves and the youth Islamically. So the only reason we are asking for this is to spread the truth. It may seem like a small act, but inshallah, it will help us reach millions of people. Now let's click the like and the subscribe buttons, and let's together walk towards eternity.
I wasn't getting any dawah, if you like, nothing like that. Just being his friend. And then they closed their shops. They moved to. Then we started doing the markets in Wigan, which is the north of England, where he met his wife and I met my girlfriend. And then we parted ways. He went to London, where his brother had a solicitor's practice and such, and he went down there to be his accountant. So he's in London now. He's getting dawah in London, or should I say, he's getting nasiha in London. He's learning his religion, right? And I used to visit. He tried to talk to me about he tried to pass on what he's learning. And I would say to him, okay, I'm listening. But then when it came kind of a little bit heavy, I said, look, are you praying 5 times a day, mate? Because I knew that was a fundamental of Islam. Yeah, I knew if you're not, that's it. 5 times prayer. If you're not doing that, everything else, it doesn't really matter. And I don't know how I knew that, but I knew that. So I would use this on him. I say, I pray 5 times a day, and he would look down at the floor very sheepishly and say, well, no, not 5 times a day. I said, well, look, when you're praying 5 times a day, then come talk to me. Yeah, when you're praying, and I can see you really believe your religion, because I've grown up with you.
I think that's really important, is to keep up with your salah. That is, if someone's going to ask you and you answer honestly, obviously, that, you either pray or you do not pray 5 times a day, then this has a huge impact on, if it is that you are offering Islam to someone else, because they would need you to be the ideal Muslim in the sense, or at least follow the very bare minimum aspects of Islam for them to understand that, oh, this is what a Muslim is like,
Mate, I've seen you don't believe it. When you believe it, then I'll listen. At least I'll give you the courtesy of listening. But like I said, I used to visit him, and every time I used to visit him, his friends used to come round, and they were talking about things in Islam that are prohibited, and talking about alcohol, all these kind of things. They're on my 5 poisons that I do: the drugs, alcohol. Yeah. So they were speaking about alcohol, and that I listened to, because I've always been argumentative. So I'm like listening, and I was listening. I'm like, yeah, you're right, mate. Alcohol is a poison. Why am I drinking it? And I stopped drinking alcohol. I mean, so much so, right? And this is one experience I had that showed me how right I was in doing so. So basically, I was working in a pub, yeah? The public had a bar, if you like, on Christmas Eve. So this is the night before Christmas, yeah? And I was not drinking. So I was serving beer and alcohol to all the people in the pub, but me, myself, not drinking. And I was watching people coming in, hey, how you doing? All right, but everyone's happy, smiling, whatever. And then I watched the place transform It was like a nightmare. Everybody just changing. Women becoming banshees, old men becoming paranoid, guys becoming aggressive. Just watching it is like, the hell is this? Yeah. Anyway, so I stopped drinking alcohol. So that was one effect Islam had on me indirectly. Again, because it wasn't because I was a Muslim. So that was happening. And I went back to South Wales, back where I grew up. I was living there with my girlfriend. And
This is interesting about the whole alcohol thing, because here in South Africa, it's really a dire situation, if I'd call it that. I mean, amongst the native peoples, especially, I think there's a huge suffering in their communities because of alcohol. Alcohol that really disrupts the society, and it destroys the community to an extent that it doesn't function well. Yeah, I mean, I've heard so many horror stories, just due to the fact that someone around the situation is using alcohol or abusing it. I mean, obviously, as Muslims, there's no such thing as abusing alcohol. Just one drop of it is, prohibited. It's something that is really not good. So, yeah, I think alcohol is really a poison, as Hamza mentions.
I had two daughters. They were 3, 4 years of age when things went different. So basically, I'd set up this finance company. So we were like a broker. So we would basically, if you've got a problem, your house get repossessed, you can't get a loan because your credit rating is bad, or you can't prove to how much your income is, my company could solve that problem. I was very, very good at what I did. I could basically, someone getting their house repossessed, I could stop the repossession, and then I could remortgage their property. I could get them more money in their pocket, extra, and cheaper than what they were already paying. So I was really, really good at what I did. Everything went swimmingly. And then, unbeknownst to me, I don't know how this happened, but I ended up talking to these American businessmen, and these American businessmen had 100 million in car finance to lend to the UK. So they wanted to set this car finance, and they wanted to use my company as the master broker to permeate it through the UK. Yeah. So we're like, okay, sounds good. So I said to my father, look, got this opportunity. I reckon it's going to make us millionaires. Yeah. And I'm going to go to London. I've made an appointment with them on September 13th, 2001. I'll stay down in London for a week. I used to go to the bookies down there and that because I was a bit of a gambler as well. I'll smash the meeting. And the meeting was booked at the Grosvenor Hotel opposite the US Embassy on September 13th. So I said, I'll go down, I'll smash the meeting because I was so confident in what I do. And that'll be it. So my dad's so happy. And I arrive in London and I'm meeting my friends. And then on September the 11th, I'm sat in his office, his solicitor's practice, his brother's solicitor's practice. And we heard what's happened. We heard about the planes going into the Twin Towers. And when we realized how serious what had happened was, the businessmen cancelled the meeting, which was due to take place 2 days later. They went back. The meeting was rescheduled for the following week. Now, during that week, I got dawah from non-Muslims. I go back to South Wales, so which is like a proper white council area. Okay. And I'm in the pub. Yeah, not drinking. I'm just in the pub. And people are saying, oh, Muslims are this, Islam is that. And I'm sat there listening, thinking, no, they're not. And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, I've got Muslim friends and I've not experienced what you're saying. I don't get the feel that they hate anyone in that way.
This is so interesting because, I mean, September 11th for many non-Muslims was a pivotal time where, you either get to know Islam for what it is, or you get this manipulated misconception of, what the media really puts out. And this is interesting where Hamza is now about to get to. I think that, while the media has this reign of anti-Islamic rhetoric, he, on the other hand, who actually has first-hand experience with Muslims, which a lot of non-Muslims, Westerners don't have, he's like, confused and this is not really what Muslims are like. So it just goes to show that, proper education and proper experience, I think, is key. Especially also when Westerners have this conception of Muslims or even any other culture, basically, and they actually go out and travel and see, you know, people for who they are and what they are, they get a totally different conception or perception about these people in question. So again, for yourself also, you know, who you maybe have an idea of a certain people, and you know you're a bit hesitant to go out and meet them, or you have this idea about them that perhaps is not the best. Perhaps go out and speak. You know, this is I think the best form of education.
I've only ever seen good things from them. And they're, yeah, well, you a Muslim? I said, you know, I'm not a Muslim, mate. Oh, well, why aren't you then? I don't know, why aren't I? Why aren't I a Muslim? If I believe it's true. Because I've been reading a book by Yusuf Qaradawi, the Halal and Haram, the lawful and prohibited in Islam. And this was a moment in time when I realized how practical Islam was. It wasn't some abstract religion like Christianity or anything else, or Buddhism, or these ideas, these things are going to happen later. It was basically, this is going to help you now. Do you get me? This is going to benefit you and your family now. And when I asked my friend, what is this? And he said, oh, this is Islam. This is, if you read this book, Yusuf Qaradawi, it's Quran, it's Hadith and such. Yeah. So anyway, so I was still in my thing though. So I said to him, are you praying 5 times a day now? He was like, yeah, we all are. So even his girlfriend, or his wife who he'd married, even she was praying and wearing hijab and all of this stuff, which really blew me away. Kind of, that was a massive impact on me. I was like, you're praying now? So I had a duty of care to listen. I promised, I said to him I'd listen. So I listened, and I recognized Islam as the truth. I truly believe we have 3 fitrah. It's in the mind, it's in the head, it's through the intellect, it's in the heart, yeah, and it's in the nafs. And if you're going to accept Islam completely, all 3 have to agree. You have to be intellectually convinced Islam is true. You don't have to be. You could just love Muslims and you want to belong and be part of something, no problem at all. But you need to bring the head along as well as to why it's true. Otherwise, people are going to question you. And if you meet a bad Muslim, then you might think, oh, Islam is bad now. Do you get me? So I was intellectually convinced Islam was true. But now what? What do you do with it? So the meeting was scheduled for the week. So this was the first week. The second week, I went back to London, and I met the American businessman. And I was just sat in this hotel. These 2 guys were just waffling on at me. I was sat there just thinking, if I become a Muslim, this is pointless. I'm not going to be able to do this business. I'm not going to be able to do this finance. Yes, car finance. Yes. So I'm thinking, I can't do this. I can't do my other business anymore. Forget adding this business. So I kind of blew the deal. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, mate. Yeah, so I go back to South Wales. My father is like, what happened? I said, oh, forget it. He goes, why? I goes, I think I'm going to be Muslim. Yeah. And, but my heart was like, it's not.
Wow, this is really impactful to me, even. Like, I mean, when it comes to money and finance and things of that respect, you kind of question things, and you're like, should I go for it? Should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? And alhamdulillah, when it comes with Islam as your backing, and you look into it, and you just stop and think and pause for a second and say, look, is this in the framework of Islam? Is this what Allah would want for me if it is that I engage in this type of business? Or whether it's not business at all, it could be anything else. So I think this is absolutely brilliant to see from, at this point, a non-Muslim. And he's basically making decisions based on this type of innate feeling that he has, based on Islamic principles, while he's not a Muslim. So this is quite interesting.
Still not ready. And I was holding on to things. This was the main thing. If I became a Muslim, I'm not just going to be one of these flaky ones. If I become a Muslim, I'm going to live Islam. I'm going to do Islam. And it's going to cost me everything. It literally is going to cost me everything. My missus, she would never accept me as a Muslim. Even though she heard the same dawah as me, she would never accept being married to me as a Muslim and the children being brought up as Muslim, the girls being brought up. She would never accept that. So I knew that's potentially going to go. I can't do my finance business anymore. That's going to go. If that goes, my father's going to go because he's my business partner. I'm going to break his heart and his dreams. That's going to go. I used to enjoy this gambling habit. That's going to go. I didn't want to give this stuff up. So basically, I was resisting Islam, not intellectually. You couldn't come to me and give me anything extra to say, look, sit down. This is why Islam is true. I'd be like, yeah, I know Islam is true. I get it. It is true. I believe it's true. But I just ain't ready to accept it because I'm not ready to give up the things I have right now. I'm not ready because if I do, I'm going to lose everything. Because I was living with my girlfriend, I would lose my place where I live. My father and then the business, I would have to give those things up too. So I'd have no income. And this is when my friend, when I told him my concerns, because he said, "Why aren't you accepting Islam? You believe Islam is true. Yeah, you know everything's temporary. Why are you not accepting Islam? I'll have no income. I'll be living in a place where there's no Muslims. I'll have no friends. I'll have no income. I'll have no nothing." I said, how can I can't put myself on the street. And he said, no, if that's what's stopping you, don't worry, we got you. Come and stay with me. No problem. You can come to London. I'll give you a room in my house. You just stay there. No problem. No need to pay any rent. Just come and stay there. And his brother said, I'll give you a job. If you need an income, don't worry about not having income. I'll give you a job. You can come and work for me in his solicitor's practice as the office manager. So anyway, so they alleviated my problems. And I had this car accident. Fortunately, alhamdulillah, it wasn't nothing serious, but I skidded to the hole, rain pounding on my car. And I was just like, I sat there just thinking to myself, who could have died then? Could have died right now. And I would have died a non-believer. I would have died a non-Muslim. And all those things that I'm holding on to, all these things that are stopping me being a Muslim, they're going to be gone anyway. And everything's temporary. So then that was the moment. That was the epiphany. That was the moment I just said, I just got to do this. So my heart was ready. And I went to my girlfriend and I told her what was happening. And she was like, well, I don't want to be with you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be with you if you're Muslim. I'm not bringing my girls up as Muslims. She got my daughters and she moved back to Wigan. That was that. So I'm like, okay. And I'm speaking to my father and, tell him I can't do this business anymore. My father didn't want to know me. I think it took 15 years for him to speak to me again. That was that. And I came to London and that was my hijrah.
So how did you feel when this happened about your girlfriend, about your father?
To be honest with you.
Wow, what an interesting story. And I mean, for him to give up, everything in his life just to be a Muslim, I think that is, it touches the heart actually. And especially within yourself, for me, I'm already a Muslim. But if there was anything further that Allah requires from me, am I prepared to give that up so that I can please Allah? This is the fundamental question, and I think Allah provides these types of opportunities. I call it an opportunity because pleasing Allah should be it should be the priority in one's life, being conscious of Allah, remembering Allah through dhikr, and obviously performing the basic requirements that Islam has established for us. This is actually motivating, I'd say. Very interesting. So I think we'll stop it at that point. We kind of get the gist of Hamza's revert story. And again, it's quite interesting to see. And I think it should motivate us that when, tough decisions do come along, we find a way in which we can rely on Allah, right? And have the sense of tawakkul where, no matter how difficult the situation is, we will still strive to have an outcome that which Allah is pleased with. Perhaps we are not pleased with, we might lose everything, but innately you'll know that Allah is pleased with that decision. Of course, Hamza in this case has pleased Allah in a way where he has become a believer, he has become a Muslim, he worships Allah, then he performs what Allah has required for him, and so obviously Allah would be happy with him. So this is again absolutely brilliant. Let this motivate us, inshallah.